my wife and I, we acquired a health and wellness center up in Wasilla, Alaska called All About Herbs. And we were introduced to X39, and Kathleen and a few other people came up this last summer in July and did a symposium for a physician down in the Kenai who had actually integrated the patches with his practice. And I figured I'd take the 4-hour drive one way, but kind of backing up a little bit, I was in a motorcycle accident in 1983 and I compressed my spine, and I've lived with back pain off and on for most of my adult life. But last year was kind of new to me because I had an annular tear in my back. Literally, it ripped the disc between my vertebrae in my mid to lower back and just above the waistband. And it was debilitating. I couldn't walk. My chiropractor said it was going to take me a year and a half before I was able to get better. I wasn't quite paralysis, but my chiropractor explained it like pouring battery acid on a nerve, and that's how it felt. So I couldn't walk for 24 hours until I could get that relief off of the disc and for it to set back into place. But extremely painful. And that was in July of last year, so a year ago. And in March, I was getting some treatments and I was feeling a lot better. In the meantime, I was on Curamed and curcumin. It's a turmeric extract, Curamed, that I was utilizing instead of pain pills. I'm not a pain pill kind of person. The Curamed was just barely knocking down the pain. So I come about June, July, I was feeling a lot better. Started to wean myself off of the Curamed, and then my 4-hour drive down to the Kenai didn't help anything, especially after the 3 days of kind of being sore beforehand, And so I get down to the symposium. They're patching people at the symposium, sharing about the X39, and they asked if anybody was in pain, and I went, "Oh yeah, that would be me." And Kathleen said, "Well, we got to put an ice wave patch on you." And so the ice wave patch, she put it on, and I said, "Well, how long is it going to take for these to work?" And she said, "About 30 seconds or so. And if not, we'll just need to move the patch a little bit." And well, I gave it a full minute and it didn't work. And I said, "Well, it's not working." And she said, "Oh, that just means we need to move the patch." So she moved it from a 12 o'clock position, the brown patch on the pain and the white patch above it. She moved it to a 3 o'clock position. And it was about 35 seconds later, God's honest truth, 35 seconds later, I went, "Well, that's just strange. The pain just moved." She said, "Well, where did it move to?" And I said, "Well, down over towards my sciatica on the left hip." And she said, "Well, we just need to put the white patch there." So she did. And just seconds later, I was like, wow, the pain's going away. And I drove all the way home, no pain. And I'm just like, my mind's just boggled. I was introduced to the Horses Don't Lie video. And inside of that video, they show a thermal image of the horses before and after on the pain. Well, one of the services we offer at All About Herbs is thermal imaging. And we can take an image of the pain. And so I went, well, I recognize that. And so I started digging in deeper. We integrated the patches into our store, and I started wearing X39, and I could feel a huge difference. Absolutely. And I put the Eon patch on in addition to the X39. I kind of rotate positions with the 39 and the 49. And I'll put one by the annular tear where I had that. And I've totally gotten off of my Curamed, the curcumin turmeric extract. And it's absolutely phenomenal. But the one thing that, my wife was kind of like, like me, we're both kind of going, yeah, snake oil. But the thing that got my wife and my attention was our 15-year-old dog. He was getting we think it was like a cyst or a tumor by his esophagus. And instead of panting like a normal dog, he was really heavy panting. And it was labored. And not only that, but he would wake up from a deep sleep and he would get up on 3 legs with a cramp that was just, you've ever had those Charlie horses, you know how it feels with a leg cramp. Well, that was my dog. And we were like, he's not lasting much longer. And that was in July. And so I started taking my X39. When I was done with it, I would peel it off, turn it upside down, put it on the dog's collar upside down. So it was sticky side to the collar, and put it on the dog. And within 2 days, both my wife and I were noticing a huge difference within our dog. And it was about a week later, the heavy panting was gone. And he's been like a little puppy ever since. He's just got more vitality, more energy. And I'm thinking, well, actually my wife, she's like, hey, if it's working on our dog, maybe it'll work on me. So she's on the patches too. And it's funny because Kathleen, I'll tell you what, we've been sharing these patches ever since. I've got an 88-year-old gentleman who could not make a fist. And after 2.5 weeks on the patches, I told his wife, I said, put him on the pain. And so next morning he gets up and he's like, well, he was complaining about his hand. She went and got the patches. She stuck one here on the right hand, one here on the left hand. He walked around all day long with patches. And the next morning, at the end of the day, he's like, I think they're working. And the next morning he said he could make a fist. And I went up to him and I said, well, how long, has it been since you've been able to make a fist? And he's like, forever. Typical guy response. So everybody we're patching, a lot of them are getting a lot of relief, and we're just super excited and keep sharing them. The annular tear pain that took it away, the pain that I've dealt with back pain all my adult life. So, I've taken a holistic approach to dealing with that and working on my core strength. But that annular tear was what the pain took away. The ice wave took that away. So it was in July of this year, I had just gotten on the patches and I had ripped my finger big time. I had smashed it between a propane tank and a piece of equipment. And it really did a number on it. I don't know if you can see this. Hopefully it shows up, but it ripped it pretty good. And it was less than 3 weeks that it was totally healed up. And I've shown people that and they're like, wow, that was pretty quick for just a couple of weeks.
Awesome. And are you experiencing mental clarity, focus, energy, any of that, John?
I'm really excited about the 49 because of the cardio, and with hypertension, I'm looking forward to that going away. That'll be another testimony. But, also this thing up here, is kind of the hair going away. But who knows? It's those stem cells, they've just got to prioritize, and I'll let them prioritize it the way they need to.